Going Beyond is a presentation of Beyond Housing, helping entire communities become better places to live with RareGem Productions. Enterprise Bank and Trust is the proud sponsor of today's Going Beyond program. We have a strong commitment to helping our clients achieve a lifetime of financial success. With 6 locations in the St. Louis area, contact us for your business or personal banking needs. Enterprise Bank and Trust. Create success.
We're going beyond.
Today on Going Beyond.
Today we're going to talk about an annual event happening in the 24-1 footprint, the boundaries of the Normandy Schools Collaborative.
The past 4 years we've had an annual community meeting in the 24-1 footprint. The next meeting will be occurring on Wednesday, December 10th. We'll have dinner at 5:30 p.m. and the meeting will run from 6 to 7:30 p.m. We'll be at Barack Obama Elementary, which is located at 3883 Jennings Station Road. The purpose of this meeting is to really celebrate what has been happening in the 24-1 community, but at the same time address some of the issues and, of course, the traumatic events that are impacting our residents and impacting our community, and figure out ways that resident leaders are trying to move forward.
Joining me on the show to talk about what's happening just around the corner is the Director of Community Building for Beyond Housing, Ms. Vontriece McDowell. Beyond Housing is going beyond.
That and more ahead today on Going Beyond with Chris Krehmeyer, right after this. Enterprise Bank and Trust is the proud sponsor of today's Going Beyond program with a strong commitment to helping clients achieve a lifetime of financial success. We welcome growing businesses, professionals, nonprofits, and individuals, not just as our customers, but as our neighbors. Talent, strength, passion. Call 314-993-6200 or visit enterprisebank.com for more information. Enterprise Bank and Trust. Create success.
Member FDIC and equal housing lender.
This is Chris Krehmeyer, your host of Going Beyond, President and CEO of Beyond Housing. Come join us as we plan for the upcoming year in the 24-1 footprint, the 24-1 annual meeting, Wednesday, December 10th, 5:30 p.m. at Barack Obama Elementary School in Pine Lawn. Come join us, have your voice be heard, give direction for your community.
RareGem Productions proudly presenting the positive.
Hi, I'm Randy Meyer from the Boeing Company, and I work in community engagement and corporate citizenship for the St. Louis offices. I believe that the work I can do and the work I'm allowed to do by the company really makes a difference in the St. Louis community, and I believe in going beyond.
We're going beyond. Welcome to this edition of Going Beyond. I'm your host, Chris Krehmeyer, President and CEO of Beyond Housing. Today we're going to talk about an annual event happening in the 24-1 footprint, the boundaries of the Normandy Schools Collaborative. Joining me on the show to talk about what's happening just around the corner is the Director of Community Building for Beyond Housing, Ms. Vontriece McDowell. Welcome, Vontriece.
Thank you for having me.
Tell our listeners what's going to be happening here just around the corner, that if you live in the boundaries of the 24-1 footprint, we'd love for you to come out and join us.
The past 4 years we've had an annual community meeting in the 24-1 footprint. The next meeting will be occurring on Wednesday, December 10th. We'll have dinner at 5:30 p.m. and the meeting will run from 6 to 7:30 p.m. We'll be at Barack Obama Elementary, which is located at 3883 Jennings Station Road. The purpose of this meeting is to really celebrate what has been happening in the 24-1 community, but at the same time address some of the issues and, of course, the traumatic events that are impacting our residents and impacting our community, and figure out ways that resident leaders are trying to move forward. So that is the purpose.
And then who do you want to come and participate?
The meeting is open to the entire 24-1 community and also those in the larger region. If you're interested in just coming to find out what this community has been doing, what residents are doing, it would be great to come out and support as well and learn from them how they're kind of taking control of their community and trying to address some of these issues. So it's open to everyone, but we really, really want to get those residents of the 24-1 footprint out there.
And then do they need to do anything if they're coming? They call, they need to email? What do they need to do?
They do not have to RSVP, but if they do have any questions, they can contact me at 314-691-6674. They can also email me at McDowell, McDowell, at beyondhousing.org.
And we'll repeat those before the show is over again. So, Vontriece, again, the idea here behind have an annual meeting is, yes, kind of, celebrate the successes that have occurred during the course of the year, because sometimes we're not real good at celebrating. We're much better at kind of complaining and fussing about things that are challenging, and clearly there's a lot of things that are challenging in our world today, but it's a celebration about successes. But as you said, more importantly, it's about the continuing dialogue with those who live in this community about what's important to them and what do they think is necessary to make their community the place that they want it to be. Talk a little bit about, how we have that conversation with folks.
Mm-hmm. And so what we've heard over the years, and definitely even more this past year, is that there are kind of 4 areas of concern which we would love to address at the annual meeting. And those areas are safety, just thinking about the relationships that the community has with their local police departments, health, and not just the physical health, but mental health, considering the current events that are happening. And then our education system, a lot of community now is familiar with what is happening with our local school districts. So how can we continue the conversation around that? And then also the physical and economic development that is happening in and around the 24 municipalities. So we definitely want to start moving the conversation forward around those 4 issues. We've heard that those are areas of concern, but we also want to use resident leaders to start pushing the conversation and driving the conversation at this meeting and discussing the ways that they think we can address these issues in the 24-1 footprint.
Because at the end of the day, this work is driven by the voice of the people that live in this community, not by any employee of Beyond Housing or, for that matter, anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so talk a little bit about health, and you alluded to kind of mental health as it relates to what's been happening in the St. Louis region because of the Michael Brown tragedy and the conversations that have been happening over and over again. So talk a little bit about, what will happen at the annual meeting relative to this part of the conversation.
Mm-hmm. So at the annual meeting, we thought the 4 topics were very interesting and that a lot of people would like to receive information about all the areas. So instead of having our traditional breakout sessions, we were actually going to have rotations to discuss the topics. Therefore, everyone in the meeting will be able to receive all of the information. And one of those sessions will be around health, but mental health. And we would have a therapist come in and speak to the residents about how to have a conversation around these traumatic events. Lately, it's been a big concern of how to talk to my child about not just the Michael Brown situation, but also with events or incidents that are occurring within our school building. So how do I identify if my child is being bullied, or how do I identify depression within my child or even within myself? What are the triggers and what are the signs, and how can I start having a conversation around these issues? So that would be the takeaway for the community, and it'd just be a starting point. We won't have a lot of time to really get really deep, but we're hoping that we can develop a relationship with the therapist and maybe move forward and have what I'm referring to as maybe community wellness check-ins throughout the year so that we can come together as a community and just start talking about our mental health and not just our physical health, and also to kind of like debunk those negative perceptions that people have about therapy. And it's okay to seek out counseling, and it's okay to speak to someone about these difficult occurrences in our lives.
Because clearly the tragedy around Michael Brown has stirred up a lot of emotions for folks, ranging from anger and frustration to sadness and despair. And all those things are a challenge to deal with. And as you said, sometimes in our community, the willingness to have it be okay that you're going to talk to somebody or going to get someone to help you kind of work through these real difficult issues, right? That always existed. But clearly, again, what's happened with Michael Brown, the continued protests, which are alive and well and don't see any way down the road that they're going to stop because folks are committed to keeping this conversation alive, that these stressors are still going to exist. So to be able to have a venue where you can begin to get some of the tools and begin to start having the conversation, hopefully will be of great benefit to the community.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
So when you mentioned that we're going to follow up on that throughout the course of the year, what does that look like? How do we envision staying in front of folks on a regular basis around this topic?
Mm-hmm. So we're hoping that we'll be able to partner with the therapist where we can offer pro bono sessions. Right now we're seeking out funding for that opportunity, but hopefully we'll be able to offer pro bono sessions to families to be able to sit down together to talk about these issues and have these conversations with a therapist in private, but as a family. And then also have larger community conversations that are facilitated by an expert therapist that can kind of just be those check-ins, okay, maybe quarterly. Here's where we are as a community. Here's what's happened so far. What are you feeling? And how can we just start to keep the conversation going? Because the protesting and the action is very important, but we also have a lot of folks in our community that kind of don't necessarily know how to respond or how to act because they're still trying to process their emotions and their feelings. So I think it'd be great to be able to bring in a professional to help us do that together.
So, Vontriece, in your work being out in community on a regular and ongoing basis, what's your sense about how folks are feeling today? You know, and today is early December. The grand jury finished their process, did not conclude that an indictment of Officer Wilson was the right action, and clearly that brought a lot of, again, frustration and anger. What's your sense in your conversations with community about where folks are at today and where this thing might be heading?
Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, I think the community was preparing for the decision that was released. I don't think that was a complete surprise. But when I think about the community and what they're feeling, I immediately go to Reverend Al Sharpton's quote when he was doing his speech the next day after the decision was released, and he said that, you know, our hearts have been broken, but not our backs. And that as a community, we'll keep fighting for justice and we'll make sure that our voices are heard. And that's the overall feeling that I am getting, that, yes, people are saddened that something like this has happened again and that the decision was, in their eyes, not a just decision. However, I think that the folks that are out there that are marching and that are protesting peacefully and that are doing blackouts on Black Fridays, I think it's really giving the community hope because folks, they're noticing. And there were 37 protests going on in 37 different states. So to me, that is just amazing, and I think that's giving folks hope, and I think that's why we need to keep talking about it and keep having the conversation so that folks have a platform to be able to express what they're feeling.
I thought it was both informative and maybe a little ironic that earlier this week on December 1st was the day that Rosa Parks decided I'm not sitting in the back of the bus, and that the Montgomery bus boycott lasted over a year. And I know sometimes in today's world we want stuff to get fixed right away and we want change right away. But change, as a general rule, doesn't happen quickly. It does take some time. So the hope is that the energy that clearly is exhibited not only here in St. Louis but all across the country will continue to advocate for change, whether it's the president's recent proposal to commit $75 million to have body cameras on all law enforcement officials across the country, which everyone has said is a good thing. But hopefully that energy and that enthusiasm will continue because, again, the change that I think folks are looking for has been a long time coming, and it won't be easy to get here. And we have to, keep at it and stay with it and keep pushing everything forward.
Yes.
So as we come to a close, Vontriece, let's give our listeners again all the details about the 24/1 annual meeting occurring here in the next week. If you give the details one more time and the contact information.
Yes. Our annual 24/1 community meeting, where we will be celebrating success in the community as well as identifying ways to move forward past the traumatic events that have occurred and impacted our community, will be on Wednesday, December 10th at Barack Obama Elementary. That is located at 3883 Jennings Station Road. We will serve dinner at 5:30 p.m., and the meeting will last from 6 to 7:30 p.m. All are welcome. All
right, fantastic. And if they want to get some more information or if they want to reach out to somebody at Beyond Housing, what do they do?
I can be reached at 314-691-6674 or at vmcdowell@beyondhousing.org.
Building Community, Director of Community Engagement for Beyond Housing, Ms. Vontriece McDowell. As always, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you.
Enterprise Bank and Trust is the proud sponsor of today's Going Beyond program with a strong commitment to helping clients achieve a lifetime of financial success. Enterprise Bank and Trust. Create success.
We're going beyond.
Going Beyond is a presentation of Beyond Housing, helping entire communities become better places to live with RareGem Productions. Proudly promoting, presenting, and producing positive programming.
Neighborhood is where you live, and we want to keep it strong and vibrant. This is Chris Krehmeyer with Beyond Housing. We are going beyond.
Chris Krehmeyer, President and CEO of Beyond Housing. Located at 4156 Manchester, phone number 314-533-0600. The only organization in the St. Louis region that offers access to affordable housing. Wherever we work, our goal is to help transform people, families, and communities so that they achieve the skills, strategies, resources, and commitment to succeed for the long term. See our work at beyondhousing.org. Podcast for Going Beyond can be heard, downloaded, and shared by visiting hallelujah1600.com. Listed under the music tab on demand. Going Beyond is another positive production of RareGem Productions.